Good afternoon, geometry class. I'm out with COVID. I expect to be back tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be having you download and install Fusion 360 and starting just the very, very beginnings of this project. And to be prepared for that, there's some things you must do today. In fact, there's so much of a must do. I'm not just going to make a video here for you during fourth period. I'm going to make a video to send home to your parents so that they're aware of what you must do. Oh, yeah. But before I get into that, I will be grading, or at least doing the preliminary grading of your Unit 1 assessment and the notes, which is why your notebooks aren't here today. So if you had stored your airplane in your notebook, I put it over here with your name on it on my desk. So it should be there. If it wasn't in your notebook, then it's not over here, okay? So let's go ahead and get to what you must do today, what you must have done for Tuesday. Let me switch views here. There we go. So before we get to that, I do want to say that because I have your notebooks, the notes that you took on these measurement basics on the imperial system, like the fractions that all these markings are, you don't have. So if you want to like take a screenshot of this, pause the video, write them all down real quick, you're going to need to be able to use these on the airplane. And so, yeah, if you need to do that, you can do so. But otherwise, I'm going to assume you've done that already, and I'm going to move forward. Okay, let me grab my airplane as the example. Okay, I'm going to zoom out. And your task, just for today, we're going to do a lot more measurement than this by the end of it, but just for one day, all we're going to do is measure the distances around the edge of the page between all of our various line segments. And so, but you don't actually have to do it on both sides of the paper because it's symmetrical, an airplane's symmetrical. So you have two halves. And whatever this half is, these measurements should be the same if you built it correctly. And so because of that, you don't have to do the whole page, you just need to do one side. And I would pick the side that you did best, like your lines are more perfect and precise. And if they aren't perfect and precise, maybe you need to update them because as soon as you put them in a computer will do your measurements. Not what you should have measured, but your measurements. So, here we go. Let's get to it. Let's just, I'm only going to do a few of these, and then I think that you'll get the gist of it. All right. So I'm going to line up my 0-inch mark here with that line, and then right there, that point, I'm going to read it off. It intersects, let me get it out so it's in the video, it intersects right there, which looks to be 2 3/4 inches, because there's the halfway part, and that's halfway to the next halfway. Let me double check that so I know that I didn't just make that up. Get that lined up. Oh, now that I've done that, it looks actually slightly shorter than that. Okay. Okay, but for the sake of simplicity, we can go ahead and round to our nearest mark. Like I found mine to be between 2 marks, but for the sake of this, like if we just round to one side or the other, that's going to be far simpler than trying to do like some halfway mark. That's a 32nd. So I have 2 3/4, and the thing I want you to write is the marking for inch. So there's 3 ways that you could write it. You could write out the whole word, inch. You could write the abbreviation for inch, which is IN dot. Or, let me do this one here. Let me go ahead and measure from the edge. That one looks to be exactly 2 3/4. Okay, so 2 3/4. Is this double, like apostrophe style? So if you write it like that, that's even, takes up less space, okay? And your goal is to just go around the entire edge. So I'm going to turn it this way, and now I've got a lot more measurements. I'm not going to do them all in this video, but I'll do a few more just for sake of it. I'm measuring not from like down here, but right from the edge there. Here I'm getting to there, which looks like 11/16. So 11/16 of an inch. Okay, and then looks like 1.5 if I'm going to the closest thing, 1.5 inches, and so on. Okay, I'm gonna do one more just so that you get a sense of this. But yeah, I mean, you get the gist. There's 2 3/16. Okay. So that's your objective. If you look at your airplane design and you find that you just have way too many things to measure around the edge, maybe you update your airplane design, start over. But your goal is to get to this point where you have all of your lines drawn, you have all of your points, intersection points, labeled, including endpoints, which looks like I missed that one right there. And then all these measurements along the edge. And if you've done all that, you're ready for the Fusion 360 introduction tomorrow. Now, some of you, this might take the whole period because you got to make your plane, you got to draw the lines, you got to do all the stuff, and you're starting from scratch. If that's you, that's okay. Take the whole period. If you do finish early, I'm going to tell you what you need to do. But before I do that, I do want to briefly mention that if you didn't finish or didn't start the assessment, you need to come during lunch tomorrow, Tuesday, tomorrow, to get any help, to get started on it, whatever, because it's just going to go in as missing. You're going to have a failing grade, so we need to fix that. But let me show you what you can do once you are like completely done with that task. You don't need to like work on anything in the past. Here we go. Behind the teacher desk are a bunch of boxes of this game, and it's too big for that camera here. See if it'll not get cut off here. Called Turn Tumble. Actually, let me go back to the webcam. Okay, so this game, Turn Tumble, is a computational logic game that uses the properties of gravity and geometry to like be a computer, to make a computer. Some of you may have played this. I mean, it's for children ages 8 and up. So this is something that you and your partner, and I said partner, up there on the instructions, if you see it right there, it says find a partner, do not move on. You and your partner can do together. Okay. I want you to work with a partner so you can keep each other accountable to the parts in here, that you put them back the right way, that you treat them with respect, and that you find all the parts if they fall on the ground. All right, because this is like $100 game, so please don't break it. All right, now I'm gonna switch this other camera. I gotta have to move it way up to try to capture what's here. Let me go there. Okay, here we go. Okay, so that's most of the game. So when I open it up, a couple things for setup. First, these legs are what hold the game in place. Okay, and it actually can kind of go in. I think it can go in both the right way, and I think if I switch it the other way, I think it still like locks in. Okay, how you'll know it's the right way is here. You should see that the gaps, if I put my finger through the gap, it should point to that other gap. So this is wrong. These are not pointing together. If I go the other way, then these two gaps, I put my fingers through the gap, and they are pointing together. That's the correct way. So that's how they go together. Okay. Then we can go ahead and remove this, set it off to the side where you have access to it, and that it's not like on the ground or somewhere it can get damaged. Sometimes there's this tissue paper there, so hold on to it. It's a nice thing to keep things nice and neat. This is the main game board, and I took time to make sure that all of them had the basic connections. And so all you need to do with this game board, and I'm gonna have to come over here, back to the regular webcam. By the way, you shouldn't be watching this video. You should be have already paused this video unless you finished the other things. So I'm going to set it in like here, okay? So that's how it goes. And yeah, pretty much that's all there is to it, except for I've done this enough to know that if I don't center this, I could get this in the way of some of these holes. There's holes in the board, and if I get my thing off center, it can block some of those holes, and that's not good. So getting it nice and centered is good. So now this is my game board. It can set on a table, and we can play. Okay, let me set it on the table in view, partial view of the screen. Okay, now there is a book, and let me flip views here. there is a book here, and it has like some instructions for setup. The only thing, I've done most of the setup for you, the only thing I did not have time to do is, looks like I just knocked those out of place, are these green pieces, which go here. I have not had time to snap in these metal balls. So many of them have these metal balls not snapped in, and what you need to do to get started is take these metal balls, and let's grab 4 from this kit here. And you can work with your partner, so it's a 2-person task. And let me grab 4, because that's how many of the balls I grabbed. Okay, and then all you're gonna do is take this little metal ball and this like circle part right here, that part, you're just gonna push it in to the center of it. That's it. Okay, it gives it the weight that it needs to work correctly. Without it, the game doesn't work correctly. So just push that metal ball right in place. Okay, work with your partner to complete it, and as you see, once you've completed it, there's a storage spot for it. Don't just like put it back in the bag, stick it in its neat storage spot. Which brings me to my next point. When you are finished, all of the pieces should be back in their spots. That includes all of the green pieces, all of the marbles in their separate bags. This start piece needs to be pulled out of the board and stuck in here. It doesn't really matter where it goes. That's kind of what it's designed for, but anywhere down here is fine. And all these pieces are put back. If you've done that, you are ready. You could read the comic section if you want to understand kind of how they made the context of the game, that's fine. But I'm not gonna do that for the video. And then there are challenges. They start very, very easy. All of you can solve these first challenges. And so it's okay if you decide to skip around a little bit, but I do not recommend, especially if you've never played the game before, skipping like way far to a hard one, having never done anything before it. And so, skipping would be more like, you try the first one, say you've never done it before, you try the first one, all right, I got it. I look at the next one, like, oh, that's easy to solve. I'm not even gonna try it, let's move on. But I would not skip like 5. I wouldn't skip that many at a time. But skipping 1 to 2 at a time, that'd be fine. I think you'll find. And once you get to higher levels, you probably will want to stop skipping, because the game is designed to have 2 ideas that build to a bigger idea, have them be separate challenges so that you're ready to solve the harder challenge. And so this is what you can play with. And then just make sure at 2:25, what am I saying? I'm totally like in some other mode. 3:15, when there's 5 minutes left, that you fully clean up and that you put every piece back where it goes. And let me just show you that right now. So first, I'm not doing it for the video, but you've put all those green pieces back. You've put all of these pieces back. You stick this in. All of these pieces should still be like in place. Okay, shouldn't be pulled out. If it's got tissue paper, this is where I put the tissue paper on top of this so it doesn't scratch. All those poke holes don't scratch. Then we stick this on top, and then we take our legs apart and snap them back into place. However they go, and then I find my lid, and I'm gentle with my lid, because please don't break these boxes. Be gentle with them, find them places where people won't step on them, they won't get damaged, or backpacks thrown on them. And then go ahead and put it back in the stack neatly where you found it. Okay, and that's what you can do if you finish early. All right, that's the whole video. I'll see you on Tuesday. Remember your must-dos to get your airplane done and drawn with those measurements around the outside. If you don't do that, you're not ready for Tuesday.